All right, welcome to what we're going to call episode 41. Oh my goodness, 41 of the Athletic Philosopher podcast. I am your humble host, Jordan Goldstein, former university professor in sport history, sociology, psychology, philosophy. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the truth. You don't want the truth. So now we are not in the academy anymore. We are full into life coaching, fitness coaching, intertwined as one, moving into running coaching, endurance training coaching, the tribal professor, all the cool things that we get ourselves into these days. Writing, running, reading, teaching, guiding, loving, and serving with the open heart. That's our beat these days. And I want to talk to you today about something I am always talking about, the romance in sport. And I wanted to distill down for you a moment during a run that I had yesterday that really highlights the ways in which a spiritual understanding of training can infuse what should be like a mundane, normal run into something that is beautiful, transcendent, everlasting, eternal, glorious, and just altogether romantic. So this one I'm going to hope to be a little bit quicker on, but I do love that idea of going a bit long. So we'll see where this goes. As always, we just sort of hit record and let the vibes go. This is something I wrote about on my Substack. This is also something I posted in our new team chat. We got a new online community option for Team Tribal, where we're leaning much more heavily into the writing, reflecting, and sharing aspects of the training that we've been developing over the past couple of years here. And I wanted to share. I knew that yesterday I wanted to run, I wanted to read, and I wanted to share with the group something. And it was building off this May run challenge that we had inside of Tribal Training, which was running on Wednesdays. We called it Write About Running Wednesdays. Yeah, it's a pretty awesome title. And we would be, you do a run. Sometimes it was a programmed run or just go out and get a run in. And then after the run, do some intentional reflection or reading work with a book that we're all kind of reading at the same time, like a book club. In May, we were reading What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. And our next book club choice is The Game by Ken Dryden, what I consider to be the greatest sports book written by an athlete that's ever been created. And I flipped open The Game over the weekend and I was reading a few of the pages, and I immediately found what I was looking for in terms of, oh, this is why I selected this book. This is a good choice, and the people on the team, they're going to really appreciate and enjoy reading this perspective of sports from inside of an athlete's mind. So I kind of have these ingredients, and what I want to talk about today is how do you create these romantic moments in training, these beautiful moments in training through an intentional process, of understanding and cultivating this spiritual awareness and understanding of exercise. So it's effectively a little bit of a spin out from let's be real. I'm only going to be talking, I think, about 7 minutes and 23 seconds of a 4-mile run that I did yesterday. But I'm gonna spin it out towards the most broad and expansive way that I can highlight to everybody listening, why you need to be exercising explicitly as a spiritual practice. So, should I start with the run? Should I start with the idea of the spiritual practice? A note or two could have helped, guys. Could have helped me here, but I like doing this in real time. This is intellectual improvisation. It's a challenge. It's helping me work on my chops, my synthesizing chops, and my communication all at the same time. Thanks for being part of the experiment, team. Really appreciate you guys. All right, let's start with the broad, and then we'll move in and we'll kind of just swim around in between and see where we end up. When I am saying exercise should be a spiritual practice for you, what do I mean? Do I mean that it is a literal form of prayer? Do I mean that it's a specific kind of ritual? Do I mean that it is a perspective and a mindset? Yes, I mean all those things. But most importantly, it's a mindset. And it's an understanding of why we do it. So actually, it's not really a mindset. It's an orientation. It's an aim. It's more of a heart stance. It's more of an opening. It's more of an opening of an activity through the opening of the heart and a revelation of the depth and the nature of that activity through this open exploration through it. So when I say exercise should be a spiritual practice, it's an intention. When I look at my week of training, when I look at my monthly block, when I look at the races or competitions that I want to put on my calendar, when I walk into the gym or lace up my running shoes or get on the bike, today, when I think about the longevity of my athletic career, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years in the future, I want this intention of a spiritual practice to orient everything. Like that is the top of the pyramid. That's the prime motivator. It's the prime understanding of what I want to accomplish. And when I'm talking about engaging the spirit, I think we all intuitively get what I am saying, but we tend to substitute the mind for the spirit. Let me give you a great example of this. I was just on a call right before recording this podcast with a former student of mine, like a former university student who I taught in his freshman year. I was the very first professor that this student ever had. This was during the pandemic craziness, so he met me. He met me as if you're watching this on YouTube, as you are, like through a video screen. And we've kept in good contact. I've always appreciated his wisdom for such a young guy. He was always coming into my office, virtual office hours, and then when we were back on campus, we were meeting. And even when we weren't allowed to meet on campus, I actually would drive and meet him at a coffee shop just so that we could talk, as people in the same room together, which is important. It's very important. But, he is now graduating and he's about to embark out onto his life. And he keeps hitting me up, asking questions and looking for life advice. And he kept asking me, like, how do you do these running things? Like, how do you run for so long without hurting? What do you think about? What keeps you going? And I just sort of challenged him. This was like 10 days ago. I just challenged him, hey, like, just run so that you're not hurting and see how far you can go. He ended up running at 12 kilometers. And then he told me yesterday he just on a whim decided to run a half marathon, and he smashed this thing in an hour and 44 minutes. Like, guy's a killer. But he's kind of been turned on. He's kind of been turned on by the challenge of running, and he signed up for a marathon in August. And I was so excited that I just was like, dude, like, we got to hop on a call. I want to coach you. I want to guide you to the marathon. And I want to hook you into this holistic style of training that I'm developing and coaching and moving into people's lives. And I started to talk about this spiritual idea, and he was describing it as mental. And I think that most people sort of get it. It's like, oh, it wasn't a physical thing. Like when I'm out there running, it's not so much the physical pain, but it's like the battle that's going on inside of my mind. So I'm really like strengthening up my mental chops. And yes, that's true. Like you are, but that battle inside your mind is actually an illusion brought about by the mind, right? The mind wants a shortcut. The mind is a shortcut machine. It's a gigantic central processing unit. It's a CPU that just gets rid of the unnecessary things and allows me to move effectively and efficiently throughout the world. And it's rational. So it's rationally calculating things, and it's saying, this is not worth it. Don't do it. It's a giant spreadsheet of cost-benefit analysis. At least that's what we think. But it's always looking for shortcuts. It's always looking for ways to quit when it gets hard and to backfill that decision with the justification. More often than not, the brain works as a deductive mechanism, not an inductive mechanism. Like, we like to think we're these rational creatures, that we look objectively at the cost-benefit analysis of all of these decisions that we have to make in our life, and through this series of weighing the options, we come to this rational conclusion that if other people were subjected to the same variables and pressures and consequences, they too objectively would come to make this decision. But that's just a whole bunch of baloney and bunk. We make our decisions first based on our desires and our preferences, and then we use the power of the rational brain to backfill with justifications, rationales, copes, or excuses. So when we're talking about like a long distance running effort, the mind's only trying to get me to quit. The mind's not trying to trick me into going farther. The mind's not interested in going further. All it wants to do is stop. It wants to sabotage you. It wants to tell you that your calf muscle is hurting, or that your quad's on fire, or that you don't have the cardiovascular capacity to keep going. When you've got all those things, and if you just keep moving forward, eventually your calf won't hurt, your quad will loosen, right? And you'll just be able to find your breath and to keep going and to keep going and to keep going and to keep going. And that dialogue that's inside of your mind, that dialogue, that's the battle between the higher version of you and the lower version of you. And ultimately, what is going to allow that higher version of you to win? It's something like willpower. It's like determination. It's spiritual fire and energy. It's not a rational calculation that's going on inside the central processing unit of my body. No. When I am faced with this internal dialogue of, do I quit or do I keep going? Hey, that's a spiritual battle. And that's where I want my exercise to be aimed. I want to primarily do the training and the competing so that I can get into contact with that dialogue and I can feel the better part of me winning viscerally by not quitting, by eating the discomfort and the pain and forcing myself towards the finish line of a race or any individual training session with integrity. Doing a good job, caring about it, wanting to excel, wanting to feel excellent, wanting to have ambition, wanting to go for it, wanting to make the right sacrifices, the necessary sacrifices in order to obtain whatever valuable knowledge it is that I want to obtain. And when I am turned on to exercise this way, the knowledge I'm after is not data driven. It's not pixels on my watch telling me how fast or how far I just ran, or how much my heart was beating, or how fast my feet were hitting the ground. I want knowledge of self. I want self-discovery. I want to know, what are the things that I say to myself to try to get me to quit? What are the things that I'm able to bring as countermeasures to keep going? That's the knowledge I need to then move out and fight bigger spiritual battles outside of the training and competing arena, to live by values and principles, to stand up for myself, to be an individual, to dream and aspire, and to allow the external expectations of other people, society at large, specific individuals, that they're not the ones in control of the value of my life. I'm the one who determines the value of my life, and I just need the courage, strength, and conviction of my character, knowledge of self, in order to boldly move that way in the world. So exercise as a spiritual practice looks like willpower training. It looks like willpower training, number one. It also looks like enjoyment. It also looks like fun. It looks like creativity, curiosity, adventure, passion, excitement, enthusiasm. That's another hallmark of a spiritual activity. Engagement. Now you see why joy, fun, passion, these are words I'm always trying to impress into the spirits of people. Podcasts, writing, coaching. When we are simultaneously engaged in a willpower battle in an activity that we love and are highly invested in for its own sake, and then we can correlate my effort with the truth of the results, like through the measurements, well, now I'm in the perfect arena to know myself, to express myself, and to effectively become myself through the merger of those two things. So when we're talking about the romance of sport, the beauty of these moments of athletic perfection that I felt on this run, it doesn't come about unless your overall stance towards why you're doing the training and competing in the first place comes from this source. Now I'm open. Now I'm open to all kinds of different experiences and different lessons and different knowledge. I'm not so tied just to the result. I'm much more interested in the process. I'm much more interested in the run that leads into the next run, that leads into the next run, that leads into this race, that leads into that training session, that leads into that race in the future, that leads to this uncovering of knowledge about myself that I can then utilize to build a business or become a better dad or husband, right? Become a better coach. All these different things. So I'm open to so many different things because I've got the proper aim and orientation when it comes to exercise. So that's the 30,000 foot view. Let's literally zoom right down to my footsteps yesterday as I went out for this run. And I want to explain the detail of this run because it's something that I think a lot of people struggle with when they think about consistency and exercise and how things got to kind of be lined up and perfect and always the plan and progressing in predetermined and predictable ways. There's no romance in knowing the end of the story, guys. Sorry. Okay, so let me set the stage here, and then we'll try and work our way back up to finish this guy out in a decent amount of time here. I love to do my runs right before I have to pick up my kids from school. It kind of stretches the productive part of my day, whether that's like coaching or writing or podcasting. And then I usually move into like errands and house chores. And then I get my space to decompress, go for a run. And then I pick up the kids when I'm got that re-energized state that you get after a good run or after a good workout session. And sometimes the time gets away from me a little bit and I have to adjust on the fly. So I had planned to go to this one forest trail that's a nice little 4-mile loop, but it's kind of the opposite direction of my kids' school. So I just decided, why don't I go to the one that's literally on the drive? Man, I'm so lucky and fortunate to be able to hit a 4.5-mile trail loop on the way to pick up my kids from school. Like, talk about divine intervention. Mwah, thank you. Thank you for placing the Nike Island Trail right in the middle of where I live and my kids' school. That's signal received, right? So I've got about, 40 minutes or so to get this run finished. I don't really have a plan on what I want to do with the run. It's been raining all day, so I'm just expecting it to be muddy and gross, and I'm just going to try to make my way through and we'll have fun. I start to walk out to get to the trail, and there's this very little narrow land bridge, right? I'm at the Skokie Lagoons. There's a bike path that goes all the way around this northern section of the lagoons. But there's this tiny little land bridge that allows you to get into the island in the middle of the lagoons, and there's a running path that goes all the way around this little island, which is great. There's a big problem, though. There's like an entire gaggle of geese with all their ganders. These are the devil birds from the north, the Canadian geese. Ah! I hate these things. And I know not to mess with them when they got the ganders because they're vicious and violent at the best of times. And when they're younger around and you're about to walk through, I don't know, like 30, 40 of them, 50 of them, they don't want you to go through. And it's not like I'm scared. I know that they're not going to like take me down, but I really respect nature. And why do I need to go and cause a problem with this gaggle of geese? I can potentially be setting myself up for injury because they attack. One of our guys literally got snapped at 2 weeks ago by a Canadian goose, once on his bike and once on a run. And I've had them snap at me. I'm not interested in that. So I just call a quick audible. And I'm like, well, I'm not interested in messing up that party and having to fight with these birds. So I'm just going to run around instead on the bike path. I already know that it's 4 miles. So, it works. I'm just adaptable. I'm open to letting the experience come to me as opposed to shoot. Like, this is what was on the plan and this is what's got to get done. And now I'm frustrated and I'm closed off and the run's not going to be good because there's all these external variables that are making it hard for me to do the thing that I'm driving to do. No, just be open. Be open to flexing. Be open to adapting. But now it's different. I'm like, I got these gigantic clunker trail shoes on. These are my waterproof, put them in snow, smash them through mud. Your feet are going to come up dry and warm. Like, they're not meant for speed. They're clunky. They're heavy shoes. Like, they don't bounce back up. They kind of like sink into the ground a little bit. And now I'm about to go run on a bike path. And I want to get something good out of this session. Like, I want that willpower challenge. I want to bring myself towards something that's going to make me want to quit. Running through mud in the forest, like on a hot day after it's rained, like it's not going to be comfortable in there no matter what. So no matter how fast or slow you go, the challenge is just getting into the mud. But now I can't do that. Now I'm on the solid ground. So what am I going to do? And I initially in my mind, I'm thinking, this is a good chance because I'm wearing the clunker shoes. I've been really pushing speed on the road as part of my training over the past couple months. And it's going to be a big part of my training moving into the backyard ultra I'm running in September. So I just think, maybe I'll just hold a nice steady zone 2, 8.5 minute mile pace. I'll go around. It will be 34 minutes. That's going to be perfect timing anyways to go faster. And I can get my kids a little bit earlier. Like, this is going to be good. And immediately once I start running, that's not what's going to happen. Anytime I think this is going to be the zone 2 run on the road where it's going to be all nice and slow, never happens. And I always end up going fast. Know thyself. This is another good reason why I run on the trails, because sometimes you can't run any faster than zone 2, depending on the terrain and the conditions, which is probably what was going to be inside of that forest for me. It was a nice and muddy romp with puddles and lots of fun stuff. So within the very first, I would say 30 seconds, I'm already understanding what I need out of this session. And it's not me restraining myself. It's me going faster, but I don't want to go fast right now because I'm sort of primed up for this easy effort. So what should I be doing? And in real time, it just comes to me, just do cadence work. I've noticed on that road running, I'm taking long strides, long, powerful strides, but not as many as I probably should be taking if I want to increase my times without just running harder, right? So I'm thinking, okay, let's do cadence work. I've been running probably or comfortably around 170, 172 steps per minute on a lot of these road runs that I'm taking. So I thought, let's just really focus on upping the frequency of steps and let's see what that feels like in the first mile. And then this loose idea of a progression run is almost always in my mind when I'm on the road, which is every mile's faster than the one you just ran. Sometimes that's just a little bit, and sometimes it's no, I got to make each one, 15 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds faster. But notice how I am allowing the circumstances and the situation that's in front of me to dictate and determine the type of challenge that is appropriate. I'm flowing with the whole thing. I'm open because I don't need the specific physical challenge. What I'm looking for is that willpower. I'm looking to touch that conflict of should I quit or should I keep going hard? I want an excuse or I have integrity to go with the truth. And I recognize that this cadence work is going to give me the ability to get into that struggle because likely what's going to happen, and this is just my intuition, but also my experience of, 11 plus years of running now. And especially running in this way where I'm tuned into this spiritual aim as the most important thing that I'm interested in touching. I'm able to create the space for meaning to emerge simply through my imagination, creativity, and awareness of the situation, but also myself. And that only comes with a deep self-knowing that comes through the consistent training in this fashion where I want to train so I can know about myself. So this is like what? And I don't want to toot my own horn, but this is kind of like the expert level execution of this stuff where it's like within the 10 minutes of the decision-making matrix on when to start, what to do, how to get it done, I've already switched it up 3 or 4 times, but yet here I am on the path waiting to get exactly what I need. So here's the second part of this. Write about running Wednesdays. I also know that I want to write about this session. And I want to write about this session with something from the book in mind. And now I'm back to those first few pages of the game. And Ken Dryden is talking about that feeling. He's talking about that feeling. He wakes up in the morning after a big win for his team on the road. But it's not like this. It's not just a win. It's a win that reminds him and his teammates of a particular style of process and execution in continued excellence. Like the story of the game is the story of a Montreal Canadiens team that is going for its 4th straight Stanley Cup victory, perhaps the greatest team in any team sport in history, in any sports history, the 76, 77, 78, and 79 Montreal Canadiens, this incredible dynasty. It's the final year, and they've been kind of like, we've been winning and playing well, but we're not the world beaters. We're not the best. And not just the best this year, but the best ever. And it's like, in this moment when he wakes up, he's got that feeling where it all came together. And we want to extend that feeling. We want to touch that feeling. And we're all going to go to optional skate the next morning so that we can hold that feeling because nobody else really gets it. But we do. And all athletes know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling, that win, that moment, that play, that catch, that shot, that goal, that basket, that bucket, that moment. I think this is actually one of my very first podcasts was talking about that moment, this idea of athletic perfection as a moment of personal transcendence. And this is kind of what Ken Dryden is talking about. Not exactly like that, but as I'm reading it, that's what's coming through to me. I'm like, it's that moment. It's that feeling when everything comes together and you're perfect. Your execution is perfect. Your process is perfect. The outcome is perfect. The feel is perfect. It all matches up. It's all aligned. And he's got this feeling after a game, but I really believe that we can be touching moments like this almost all the time in our training if we're tuned into what we are looking to feel, why we're looking to feel it, and what the dang feeling actually is. So it's this feeling of alignment. It's this feeling of everything clicking. The subjective, the objective, merging beautifully together into one spectacular play. And this is what happened. The moment that I decided to pick my feet up and move to a 180 cadence as opposed to a 170 cadence, I was into that moment. I was into that feeling. Immediately I recognized my heart rate did not go up. I'm still at this very low effort, but I'm going fast. I know I'm going fast. The trees, they're moving faster. My feet, I can feel the pace. I can feel the rhythm. And I'm like, this mile is going to be a fire mile. I've been looking for like a sub 7:30 mile with a very low heart rate for a little while now. Haven't really got it because I have been clunking around at 170 cadence. Get up into the over the 180s, and it's like you can do it without even trying. And that's what it felt like. It was like I wasn't even trying. I wasn't even trying to go fast. I was just trying to move my feet a little quicker. And then all of a sudden, boom, first mile's done. I look down at the watch. 7:23. That was a good time. Especially for the perceived effort of what I was doing. That was an easy 7:23. So then I'm out of this moment now, and I'm back into, well, what do I need to keep this going in a sense? And that's like, well, you got to keep going faster. Faster progression runs. So I had an intuition. I had a sort of a gut feeling about what was going to happen. Turned out to be exactly what I did. And it was all kind of brought about through this feeling of transcendence. Like when the form and the function and the feel, they all meet together to produce the result, and the result is excellent, and it's a confirmation of what you were hoping for. That's that feeling, man. That's that feeling. And I'm not someone who's like looking down at the watch to get a sense of this stuff. Like at the most, when my watch beeps and tells me a mile's passed, like that's when I'm looking. Unless I need to start calibrating towards like the end distance or anything like that. The mind knows where the finish line is, and it calculates your effort directly to the finish line. It's funny how it works like that. But all this to say, this is just like a 4-mile run, guys. It's a 4-mile run, like crammed in between like grocery shopping and picking up my kids. And I get this moment of effortless perfection, effortless execution, effortless excellence. It's that Wu Wei idea from Taoism, right? Effortlessness, and grace, and proficiency, and excellence, and technical skill. Like my ability to know that if I move my feet quicker and I place them here and I push back like this, my heart rate will stay the same, but my actual motion will be increased. And when I go back and I look at the numbers after the run, which I want to do, because I still want that truth. I want that objective truth. That's why we do the training, guys, so it can be measured. And so I don't have the ability to lie to myself. Because if it's like, oh, yeah, I felt like I was going a lot faster. And then I look down and it's like, oh, shoot, you just ran a 9-minute mile and your heart rate was 140, dude. Like, you're delusional. You're delusional. But the numbers confirmed what I thought and what I felt. 7:23 mile, 128 average heart rate. Whoo! That's cruising zone 2, guys. That's like, we're getting close to forever pace. We're getting close to like a 7:20 minute mile forever pace that I can just go for a while. Now, it was difficult on my feet because these are not the right shoes to be doing some high cadence speed work in. But that's another part of the challenge. It's like, well, who cares what the actual number is? I just want the relative effort. I don't give a crap about the absolute measurement. I don't need my carbon-plated shoes to be able to go and get like the extra juice so I can have this really fast time. I don't care about that. I care about the willpower battle. I care about courage. I care about overcoming the terror of running fast. I don't care about what the actual speed is. And I want that to be getting faster over time. But some runs will be slower. That's okay. It happens. So let's try and bring this up to the middle in between the 30,000 foot view and my literal footsteps on the path. We'll try and land this guy when it comes to your exercise, your orientation, your aim when it comes to exercise as a spiritual practice that can infuse meaning, purpose, and kind of the specific topic of this one, which is like the specific romantic moments within your training and within your competitions. How do you do it? So a couple ingredients to the story here that I think I just want to highlight and let you go and bake whatever cake it is that you want to make. Wheat, it's like flour, sugar, butter, and eggs. those four things, that you can make a lot of different kinds of breads or pastries or pies or cakes or muffins or whatever you do. You're just changing up the proportions to what it is you want to make at that time. So the first is this overall understanding and orientation. That's the spiritual frame. So you must have a spiritual frame on exercise. It can't just be a physical thing. It can't just be this idea of like, oh, it's a mental thing. No, it's like I have to employ the spirit, because once I bring that into the equation, the body and the mind are forced along no matter what. They're forced along no matter what. I didn't want to run fast yesterday, but once I recognized what the spiritual battle was for me that day, I ended up running the final mile with, I think, a 168 average heart rate. Fast! It hurt. I was sweating for an hour and a half after I stopped, guys. The body and the mind were forced to come along. They didn't have a choice. They did not have a choice because the spirit was leading. So if I lead with the spirit, I automatically get the mental and the physical benefits. So the most important thing for everybody out there, spiritual orientation of exercise, number one. Number two, enjoyment. You have to like what you do. If you don't like what you're doing, you won't care. And if you don't care, when the spiritual willpower battle presents itself, the mind's going to find the solution. It's going to find an excuse. And it's going to take it. And then it's going to say, I didn't finish because. But if you care about the activity, if you enjoy the activity, you'll just want to be doing it. You'll want to be getting better. I love running. Running is life. I love trail running. Trail running especially is life. I want to be better at it. I want to go faster. I want to go farther. I want to feel more nimble. I want to feel more agile. I want better balance. I want better explosive aggressiveness, acceleration. I just want to be better because I love it. And the more I'm able to improve my performance, the more I'm able to actually enjoy the activity. I'm able to get more out of it. I'm able to recognize, hey, if I pick up my feet, I can go faster. And I know exactly how to do that. I'm not stumbling around and fumbling in the dark like a beginner, like a novice. And when I was a novice and I was beginner, I let the curiosity and care move me into more intermediate and expert stages of skill and talent. So, one, I need an overall orientation of spiritual aim. Two, I need to enjoy the activity. I need to enjoy the activity. Number three. We'll just go right from Bruce Lee. Be like water. Be like water. Flow. Be open. Open up the heart. When things get in the way, move around them. When obstacles are presented, flow with them. You cannot find romance by pre-planning every tiny little detail. There is no spontaneity. There is no improvisation. There is no serendipity. There's none of that if I'm just trying to determine the whole thing and I'm closed off to any alternatives. If I'm not open to the idea that I can find meaning running on a road because I'm a trail runner, well, then I'm totally closed off to this awesome moment I got to experience yesterday while running on asphalt. It's as simple as that. So I have to have a spiritual orientation. I have to enjoy the activity. And I have to be open to flow. Those are three of the main ingredients to finding this romance. And the final one. The final one. Patience in the present moment of pain. This is one of the most important, truthful elements of exercise and athletic competition that makes it such a valuable arena to know myself in, because I cannot escape the effort. The effort is the pain when it comes to this stuff. It's the lactate burn in my lungs when I'm sprinting. It's the heaviness of my legs, right? As I'm churning them over as fast and as powerfully as I possibly can when I'm striding. You gotta love that place. And not in this sadistic, masochistic sense of the pain is good in a sense that we just enjoy hurting ourselves. It's about recognizing I can't get to the place where my higher self and my lower self fight against each other if there's not total discomfort, if there's not anxiety or fear or physical discomfort or mental anguish or spiritual fraying. I can't have a spiritual willpower battle if something's not hurting. If I'm not being alerted to the fact that, hey, it'd be easier if you just stopped. It would be so much easier. You wouldn't be suffering if you just stopped, and you're doing something you don't need to be doing. So just stop. Just stop. Because at the end of the day, I don't need to go to the threshold in order to get my 180 minutes of moderate exercise a week like the doctors and the experts all tell me that I need. I don't need to be pushing hard. I just need to be zone 2 minutes, whatever. But I'm never going to learn anything about myself if I don't push. If I don't get into a place where, oh man, quitting would absolutely be better, but I have no option to quit. I'm going forward. So when you get into these moments of pain, being able to pause and be patient and to recognize, oh, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be brought right into this moment where it would be easier to stop or quit, but I need to break through. And I need to physically feel the truth of that breakthrough by not giving in to this moment of weakness or this excuse or this sabotage or whatever it is. So I think that's the nice middle ground here. We got 4 ingredients. Spiritual orientation, which I talked about quite a bit at the beginning of this, what that looks like and how to do it. Enjoyment, like, come on, that's just you knowing what you like. Or if you don't know, trying enough stuff until you find something that you like. Be exploratory. Be curious. Flow, being open, not closed, not needing everything to be planned out and structured and determined in advance, but being open to modifying, adapting, and moving with the adversity that shows up. And then finding patience in a present moment of pain and accepting that that's where you need to be if you want to fulfill any of these other things that are important now. Because you have a spiritual aim, you want to enjoy it, and you're looking to flow through the adversity. Put those 4 together. Do it over and over again. Over and over and over and over. And I promise you, these moments, that feeling will waft over you so strongly, so viscerally, so genuinely, that maybe you'll want to just get on the mic and share that transcendence with everybody like I'm doing right now. And I don't want to overinflate the importance of these moments, but I certainly don't want to minimize their importance either. These are the moments of self-knowing that I'm after. These are the moments of transcendence where all the discipline and the work and the struggle and the sacrifices of all the other daily training sessions that I've put in year over year over year, they all come together in a beautiful play, in a moment of brilliance, in a moment of effortless execution of excellence, where I just decide I'm going to move my feet a little faster, and then everything falls into place. Everything falls into place. And you're running faster than you thought you could at a pace that doesn't feel that hard at all, and you are just vibing. You're on the right frequency. You're on the right signal. You've got the proper orientation, aim, and you're aligned. And the more frequently you do it, the more intensely. You'll feel each moment. You'll be able to recognize them. You'll be able to see them and feel them in real time. And ultimately, when we are exercising as a spiritual practice, this is a celebration of self-mastery. And I cannot master myself unless I bring myself into direct conflict with myself so that I'm forced to grow. So I'm forced to overcome a weakness or a limitation or a shortcoming. And I'm just grateful for the training to be able to show me these clearly and to be conscious of those lessons and intentional about looking and seeing them so that I can take the lessons and move them on out into the rest of my life. Because ultimately, that's why I want to do the training, to become the best I can be as an individual, as a husband, as a father, as a coach, as a business owner, as a son, all the different hats that I have to wear, that I choose to wear. Not the ones that people tell me I gotta wear. The ones I want to wear. And it works the same for you. All right? Go out. Get that feeling, guys. And if you are turned on in intrigue and interest and curiosity and you want to know more, hit me up. I'm happy to explore what all of this might look like for you. Or if you're doing it, how can we refine it? How can we make it better? And how can we truly use the training as this vehicle of self-transcendence? Oh man, this is the good stuff. All right, guys. We'll talk to you in episode 42. It's already lined up, and it's going to be a good one. Peace.